And with that, we're back. Back with another Hobby Hang stream. The plan today, guys. The plan today is to hopefully see the Combi Lieutenant through. Aside from his basing, of course. I have a bunch of bases to batch together. So that'll remain for, in all honesty, probably off stream. That seems like an off stream sort of task. Kitbash Carnage, hello. Hopefully you do make an appearance. Matt Gaming, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate the enthusiasm. How's it going today, or how I'm doing today? Pretty good. Pretty good. I think I have a little bit of seasonal allergies, so there may be some microphone muting for sneezings or any other sort of upkeep. But other than that, I'm doing just fine. I noticed upon review, this guy has a bit of a ugly edge highlighting. I guess I was getting kind of fatigued towards the end of the last stream. It was a bit too stark, so we're going to clean that up a little bit first and then get back into edge highlighting the green armor panels on this guy. There's a few extra tasks I want to, not tasks, but I guess you could say minor steps that'll take place after edge highlighting. Things like muzzle burn. I would like to add some soot to that flamer barrel, you know? But I recall you posted a message. I'll take a look at that. Greg, TSO, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Matt Gaming says, I'm kinda annoyed. I found a really cool method that makes good-looking minis called Smash Chop. Ah, yes. The various types of chops. But it only works on stuff with lots of detail like Tyranids and not my flat-paneled Necrons. Yes, the Smash Chop or the Slap Chop, or I'm sure there are a few other alternatives as well. Those workflows definitely shine best for detailed miniatures like Tyranid Carapace, like Seraphon scales, right? Those kinds of details. But you still could technically do it. It just won't be as effective. It's still probably a faster method to painting. Those types of methods tend to be good hobby yield for the time spent, I find. Especially if you're just trying to get an army. If you're trying to bang out an army, so to speak, right? Just get a table ready so you can live your tabletop life. I find those techniques are kind of the way to go, I'd say. Greg TSO says smack chop 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 shop dropship lollipop. Yeah. The techniques are vast, and they all sound similar. Good news is the wet palette seems to have done its thing, keeping my paints alive. Always a win. At least in the case of this green, it's kept it alive. Let's see if I can get a slight edge highlight on this reactor ring here. Certainly unnecessary. But I find great joy in painting the unnecessary parts. Alright, just a little edge highlight to suggest some overhead lighting. Greg TSO says, I'm priming up some units of mine for a game next week. Very nice. What game system? What game system and what units? Let me feed off of your hobby projects. Let me get some hobby enthusiasm. I'm starving for it as of late. Francois, welcome. Welcome, Francois. Oh, an airbrush holder in the mail, eh? That's a good quality of life accessory. It sounds unnecessary, but as someone who does not have an airbrush holder, it would certainly make it easier if I had one. The airbrush is just a much more complicated tool. You know, I can put down a traditional brush just fine, no problem. Put down an airbrush, it spills all over the place. Let's see, wasted paint. It can be a problem. Oh god. I think I might have ruined that. We'll see. We'll see. The anti-lighting paint ran into the recess. Maybe it'll look okay though. We'll see how it dries. That. Greg TSO says it's probably going to be a combat patrol, but I did a 1,000 point game with the first company detachment because I'm a masochist. Interesting. Did you have many first company appropriate units? Like, you know, the veterans, Terminators, all of that. Yeah, the first company detachment's a cool idea, okay? It's a real cool idea, but it, like many detachments, leaves me wanting. I also think there's just an optics loss or a perception loss on the first company task force. That detachment ability to reroll wounds for Oaths of Moment once per battle is just soured in my eyes. And like I said, I think it's a perception issue, just because of the index, right? In the index, that's like how we were introduced to Oaths of Moment. That's just how it worked, and now. It's hard for me, anyways, not to perceive it as less fun, less to be excited about. It's a worse version of what we had in the index. On and admittedly, like, I would make the case. I think most would agree. A worse detachment than Gladius Task Force. So like, oh, what's there to be excited about, you know? Especially with such an awesome name, like Extremis Protocols or something like that. It has a cool. I like the naming convention they chose for the detachment rule. Okay, that should do. Apologies, guys. I have a bit of autumn allergies today. Excuse the sniffles. I'll try and mute myself to spare you all. Let me catch up with chat. What kind of fine brush do you use? Thinking of investing in one with a little training wheel for edge highlights. I use fine brush. If you're referring to this brush, this is a Green Stuff World Silver Series 0. I think they go to 00 in terms of precision. They've become sort of my reliable go-to brushes. You usually have a 1 and a 0, and that's usually enough for any sort of infantry you're working on. This is beginning to die out, the point and body on the 1. I have a new one ready. I just don't want to bust it out just yet. A replacement size 1, that is. But the point, I wish I had a comparison on hand, is my point. That one is a bit lacking in the durability. Marcus Geiger Counter, Marcus the Geiger Counter, welcome. Working on a Imperial Fist successor in golden yellow and dark steel. They're supposed to be an amalgamation of different chapters and eras all dropped together by the Necrons. The Amber Sentinels, using Black Templar's rules. Ah, that sounds like a pretty nifty origin story. I like the name, Amber Sentinels. That's got a good ring to it. It sounds like it fits in the setting. It has just the right amount of cheese. And I mean that in all good faith. I fundamentally believe Space Marine chapters should sound a little goofy. Just a bit. Just a little cheesy, okay? I think you have to fall in line with the first founding chapters. And, I say this feeling the same about I think the Firekeepers, my successor chapter, has a pretty cheesy name as well. It's got to be over the top. Greg TSO says, yes, I had 2 squads of Stern Guard, a squad of Blade Guard with Lieutenant, and an Impulsor. Terminators with a Librarian, a Ballistus. Also, yeah, it was really underwhelming. Well, look, kudos for using the detachment. You didn't power a game, okay? You get points for that. You get the points for not being a power chaser. The allure of just using the detachment that's best is certainly real. I think it's something a lot of people get swayed towards. So in not doing that, look, you have a mark of integrity. A true individual of high integrity. I think it's only easier with the way detachments are structured. That is all by design. Games Workshop wants us to turn a blind eye to poorly constructed detachments for factions, because, look, your factions Your faction's health and win rate, or your faction's rules, are represented by their win rate, which is drawn from as many detachment rules as they are viable. But it's not a marker of the health and quality of those rules, right? When you see Space Marines as right in line, like, oh, it's a healthy rule set. Look at that. Good win rate relative to other factions. Mind you, I'm just speaking as an example, if that were the case. It doesn't mean all the detachments are good. It could just be one detachment that's contributing to that entire win rate. Oh my god, we did it. Okay. That one. That lip took all of my focus. Ah, welcome, Alfarius. Welcome. Good to see ya. And Francois is here, ready to chirp you. Mad Gaming says, I'm thinking once I've made 2,000 points of Necrons, I'm going to go for Tyranids next. But I want them to be connected, like they invaded my British Necrons tomb world. I want some colors to contrast. That sounds pretty fun. Yeah, it's also for color variety. You definitely want to have contrasting armies, I think. I also think it makes all your stuff look better, right? If you have a display case, let's say, right? Each shelf has a 2,000 point army, hypothetically. That shelf's going to look better if they're contrasting schemes. I mean, Games Workshop does this. It's, I think, what drives the choice in which sub-factions they put on the box fronts. I think they want contrasting schemes, all relative to the Ultramarines. That's what I think. That's the tinfoil hat theory. You know, it's probably correct though. I'm inclined to believe it is. Yeah, Tyranids can be very fun. They can be a pain, because it is a less elite army. Though you can build them elite. You can go with lots of monsters. You can have, warriors as your smallest bug, and now you're shoring up that quantity that you would have to otherwise, unless you prefer the swarm route. In which case, I respect the hustle. It's admirable. It's more work for probably better spectacle, but my god, sometimes I get annoyed having to move just the units I have with Space Marines. Why do I have so many Space Marines to move? And just imagine if you were just moving hordes of Griblies. Okay. This is a very ugly edge highlight, so I have to clean this up. Yeah, it's gotta be like half as thick. Marcus the Geiger counter says, I painted my firstborn Crimson Fist so bad in 8th, but a learning experience. It was, however, a financially poor decision. Yes, yes. Look, everyone's first models are not the most glamorous. I think it's only natural. And anyone who paints like their, oh, here's my first model, and it looks amazing, I feel like there's some unspoken, and this could just be cope, but I feel like there's some unspoken context left out of the, that we're not privy to, right? Like, maybe they have painted other miniatures for their game systems, or they just have a background in art, so they have a good sense of, you know, how to handle paint and brushwork and all of this. I feel like that's often the case. Okay, I think it looks all right. Gonna need a little bit of cleanup. Just old paint, wet palette for the win. Just keeping it ready to go. Amazing. Hey, Kit Bash Courage, just saw your message. How are we today? And also hoping all in chat is well. How kind. I am doing well today, doing well. Hoping to finish off this Combi Lieutenant here. Slowly but surely. Look, it's just its foot remains for edge highlighting. Then I'll do some finishing processes. I want to add some soot to the flamer here. Just a dry brush of black, nothing fancy. I want to add a little bit of light blue to these rivets and a little edge on this blue panel here on the canister holding the gun, or sorry, this bracket or brace holding the Promethium fuel canister. And what else do I want to do on this guy? Oh, we have to do edge highlighting on his helmet, the red stripe. And while I have that out, I'll just do a little bit of lines on the crack grenade, and then we'll be done. Okay, then he'll be ready for basing. I swear. I swear. I actually don't like how muddy this detail here is looking, so I'm wondering if I can clean it up with a bit of recess lining with some Black Legion contrast here. Just trying to help create that distinction. Hopefully it's better for it. Iron of the Spoon, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Viper, how's it going? You feel called out with the background in painting. Oh, no big look. I'm just talking openly. We're just sharing ideas, okay? Not throwing any shade. I just mean sometimes people get discouraged when they see like those posts. Look, I don't go to the 40k 40k subreddit anymore. But often I would see posts like, "Oh, here's my first model," and it's like amazing. It's so funny to me. And you see the comments, everyone's kind of despairing. Not despairing, it's mostly positive, right? It's just the unspoken kind of vibe. Viper says, also just now getting back into the hobby, repainting my Raptors chapter. Oh, very cool. Raptors are... Look, they got that tactical energy on lock. I have been tempted. That was a chapter I was considering. In the which chapter should I go after? Decision process, Raptors was in the running. Alright, let's finish off this guy's foot. I hate how not straight that is. Why must I hate? That's from something. I can't recall the reference anymore. Why must I hate? Twenty points to whoever knows the reference source. Viper says, to be fair, my first model was me trying out an ultramarine. Hey, nothing wrong with that. I'm not a hater of the ultramarines here. Not at all. I think they're rather cool. Like, you need some vanilla to make the other flavors more interesting, right? And even then, I wouldn't call the ultramarines vanilla. I just think their themes are less memes, if that makes sense. And I think because they don't have that meme ability, in the same way, you know, White Scars go fast, Salamanders like Flamers, Raven Guard are emos, right? In that way, I think they get termed as being boring because they don't have a strong meme ability. I wonder if there's a video topic there. Could be. Alright, cool. Alfaria says, what's wrong with not being straight? For edge highlighting purposes, okay? Let me be clear. Well, unless the edges are not straight. Right, in this case, this one, I would like it to be in line with that edge. There, that's better. Maybe a bit more of the Nocturne green. Let's try. Let's try to undo that blemish. Mad Gaming says Slanesh not approved. Yeah, I suppose not. Viper says, yeah, I went from a single Ultramarine to a squad of Raven Guard, and now a work-in-progress army for Raptors chapter. Hey, that's a pipeline. That's the Raptors pipeline if I ever heard it. Oh, Space Marines are cool. Start with Ultramarines. You want something a bit more tactical? Then you're like, oh, let's try Raven Guard. And then it's like, oh, I like this tactical vibe. And then there we have it. Raptors. This is pretty glorious music. Not gonna lie. Again, I'll try to remind myself not to be too particular about the base of the feet, since it is going to get dry brushed and pigmented. Jeez, I feel like that's way off. Terrible. Just terrible. Matt Gaming says, because of my friend, I can never hear the song without hearing Knuckles singing. I was never book smart, I'm money smart. I am not familiar with that reference. But I appreciate the anecdote. Alright, let's clean up that. It's too fat, this edge highlight. Yeah, we'll just complain about edge highlighting shapes. Or edge highlighting blemishes all stream. Buckle up. Okay, I think that foot's looking all right. Got a little round ankle piece and this lip here, perfect. And I think I just touch the round piece. Oh, that sounds phrasing, am I right? Just touch the round piece as you do. Francois says, oh my god, I just figured out I need 6 boxes of Shining Spears. Oh boy, look, that's It's a lot of plastic GW dollars, that's what. Yeah, I have committed for my Phoenix Force to just be the infantry base. But at a certain point, like, there's sort of a sweet spot right now with the Phoenix Force meme list, right? Where you can field all, not all, well, you could, yeah, you could field all the Phoenix Lords plus their one relevant unit. However, as they keep making more, you know, if they make, I forget the name of the Phoenix Lord for the Shining Spears at the moment, but if they make a model for that Phoenix Lord, it's gonna be it's not gonna be a cheap 70-point character. All right, it's gonna be very expensive. It's gonna become too prohibitive to have the Phoenix Force in a list, and then it's, well, then you're just doing narrative. But you know what? The whole idea is a meme anyways. Might as well just play it in narrative. Hold on, I gotta sneeze. I'm back. Wasn't terrible. In other news, good luck, honorable battle brother. Even in debt, I still serve. Very funny. Okay, so what remains? Maybe some tiny green edge highlights on those wrists. Those Firekeeper's wrists. Just a partial bit of edge definition, I think, is all that's necessary. Oh yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Can we get in there? Can we get into the crevasse? There you go. Not bad. We'll take it. We will take it. Cool. These coming together. Off-white is, man, the off-white has like 0 staying power on the palette. I just want to bump up the brightness on my leathers a little bit. So let's grab a dab of Steel Legion and some off-white. Francois says, well, I'm not really building a Phoenix Force. I'm just doing a Wraith unit for each aspect shrine. Yes, I remember. I remember. It's a very cool concept for an army project. Not gonna lie. Jesus Christ. Sorry. Yeah, I was like, I only need a little bit of white, and then I just like splooged all over my wet palette. Amazing. That's more off-white to waste. Just what I wanted. Just what I love to do with my paints. I just want to give these leathers a little bit of a broken bit of edge highlighting. Just a bit. Just enough. Francois says the Shining Spear Wraith Knight will be with Bright Stallion conversion. I don't quite understand, but I like what I'm imagining. I'll say that. Again, I'll mix our off-white with some of this pure red. It should give a decent pink to edge highlight the red elements. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, I already want to draw a line down the center of the helmet to emphasize that kind of crest detail. And just the tops of these squares. I think that's all they need. Just doing that little bit of definition to suggest the lights being caught. Oh, pour one out for Matt Gaming. Spilled his Talisar blue all over your desk. Not only is it a terrible pain to clean up, huge waste of paint. And your paint surface is forever blue. You just blew yourself. Much like one of my favorite characters from Arrested Development. He accidentally blew himself. Look, I've been there, okay? Nothing to be ashamed of. Oh, jeez. There's something about these frag grenades that I'm just like, I love them as a accessory piece. I think they add so much interest. white line. Okay. Something like this. Hopefully that's centered. Oh, that one's terrible. The back one probably doesn't need any definition. It's too low. Okay, so you know what? From here, we'll just clean it up. If we hit the whole surface, it's definitely gonna be. It's definitely gonna hit the center. Right? That's a strategy. Overdo it and dial it back. Your desk is blue now. Dubba-dee, dubba-die. Nice. Yeah, look, I spilled plastic glue all over this. So you are not alone in the ruining of hobby spaces, okay? They get battered, it is inevitable, right? Even if you try and keep it pristine, just the wear and tear of it will, you know, you'll get paint flecks over time. Just dirt buildup. So it's nothing to, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal. Though it does irk that part of my brain. Okay, we can use up some off-white here as well. I'm just trying to see what else we want to do. I would love to put this model down and be like, it's done, except for the base. And hopefully never pick it up and notice something I missed. We'll tighten this up. That's pretty tight. Okay, and then with the rest of the off-white, we could sharpen the edge of this blade. Not sharpen, but more like polish. Make it look a bit more shiny. But yeah, we're definitely going to be wasting some off-white. That's for sure. As per usual. I can use a bit of blue with that off-white and add those small detail bits to the gun. Right, what did I say? The rivet here. Here, maybe this edge and this edge here. Oh God. Viper says, poor desk, I just finished a test paint on an extra captain model I have. Testing a paint scheme on a captain. Quite unorthodox. Okay, I think, but for the silver cleanup, I think I'm ready to call GG on this guy. Yeah, we'll do our silvers, and then we'll finish off with the soot effects on the flamer, which isn't anything fancy at all. Viper says, I want to see how the whole white arms on a Raptors captain would look with his white helmet and yellow stripe. Ah, very interesting. A good note of the Raven Guard heraldry there. That is what they do, right? Raven Guard captains and veterans have all white arms. I think so, if memory serves. Okay, so with this brighter silver, we will build up a bit of shiny spots, I think, like that. Maybe push it a bit more. Push it a bit more. Just to give that forward-facing arm a bit more effort, so it appears as equally painted to everything else. Especially, like, there's so much going on here, detail-wise, and attention that has been put into this area, and very little into the knife blade itself. And I think it makes it look a bit awkward, a little bit. So we'll give it a... Normally I don't do edge highlighting on metallic parts because it's, well, I find it less fun. But in this case, I think it's probably worth it. It is probably worth it. Viper says, oh, your experiment just solidified your hatred for white. That's racist. No, I get what you're saying. Often, for my white painting, or white components, I just use off-white and kind of cheat a bit with that. I add a cool shade and then layer back up with white. And if you're desperate, I mix in a bit of regular white, but painting pure white sucks. For Beal Tan, I basically cheated with white contrast or white Vallejo speed paint, which is really just gray over a white prime, a white base coat. I think I did a painting white scars video way back, and it turned out all right, and it might in fact use the process I described earlier, starting with off-white and just layering back up. It is painstaking, like way more so than painting blue. Blues, greens, and reds are very cooperative in terms of paint pigments. But the whites are so unruly. The white pigments. Okay, what remains? What remains? We can add a little bit of this off-white to the weapon handle, but just barely. And then I don't know what else to use the white pigment for. I do have a last veteran for the Company Heroes squad to do. Well, edge highlighting anyways. So we'll see. Maybe we can use some of the off-white for his needs. This. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think it's adequate. Do have some silver for cleanup. So it is not the worst. Oh, this definitely was washed and it's altered the base color. That's fine, I can work with that. Where is my black contrast? Black Legion. We'll use a bit of this. A little bit. I won't need too much. And then mix in a bit of our metallic paint. And there we have it. Gunmetal. I actually want it to be even darker. But the contrast is potent stuff, so better to build up gradually. Alright, I think that's better than how it started. Did I miss anything on chat? I was just so focused. Viper says, lol, I should use an off-white. So I may be late on this, but the blade in your model's right hand, where's that blade from model-wise? It looks like it belongs to Monster Hunter, which is cool as fuck. Awesome. Awesome, Viper. I'm very pleased to hear without any context, that's the association you've made, because that is exactly what I was going for. Yeah, it's designed to look like a Lagiacrus weapon. Where is it from model-wise? An Age of Sigmar Orc, which I always forget what the models they're from. It's the yellow ones, the yellow armored orcs that are on big bases from like Age of Sigmar 1st edition. I keep wanting to call them Iron Horde, but that's not correct. Matt Gaming says, hold on, your Tyrannofex Metal Gear Rex has been on the Mini Wargaming channel? Question mark. Yes, I did a Monster Mash battle report with Steve at the start of 10th edition. It was all monsters with the worst detachment of the time. The Crusher Stampede. Just awful. Just a great example of terrible detachment balance. Right? Now, things have been updated since, so it's not as bad, and to be honest, I don't know how it ranks with the other detachments, because I haven't played Tyranid since. But, oh my god, at the start of, when that codex came out, that detachment was awful. Just awful. Yeah, that battle was against his all... Well, he told me it was going to be all Wraiths, but there was there were some boots on the ground. Which is fine. Look, Steve's a good guy. I would play again. But Eldar at the time, oh boy. Early 10th edition Eldar were so busted. And it did not help that my detachment was so terrible. However, we still had a very hilarious game, just because, look, I've made my stance on invulnerable saves clear, I think. I think they're terrible, and they break the game, which is what happened, and I was able to remain in the game when I otherwise should not have, just because of dice. Viper says, oh, I have an idea of what you're talking about. My friend plays a ton of Age of Sigmar. Also awesome on the Mini Wargaming channel. Yeah, it was cool. Honestly, I used to go down there quite a bit when they had the bunker. Well, not just me, but me and the friendly local gaming club. A few of us would go down to the bunker and have a kind of awesome getaway weekend every now and again. But, sadly, they no longer provide such services, which is mondo lame. Big sad. Big sad. Okay, so with that older brush here, I'm just going to get some black pigment from the palette, just leftover stuff, and we're just going to dry brush this. We're just gonna, not even dry brush, it's kind of like a wet application of, like the pigment's more moist than it would be for a dry brush. And I think it lends to a pretty decent kind of effect. I just kind of want to stipple it in there. Just so it looks a bit soot covered. You know, I imagine this guy has been charring Tyranids left and right, so some of that's gonna wash off on his gun. It's not a fancy technique, but I think it's perfectly serviceable. And we'll just apply it in a circular sort of motion. Cool. And if it's too much, I think we can even brush it off as well a little bit. If your brush is strong, if it's stiff, but these old workhorses I use aren't proper dry brushes, so they don't have the strong bristles, if you know what I'm saying. All right, cool. Look guys, it may have only taken 10 streams or so, but a Combi Lieutenant has been painted. And I think it turned out pretty good. It's pretty handsome fellow. Yeah, I think adding a little bit of extra effort on that forward knife helps, especially when it's out of focus like this. Yeah, it looks pretty nice. That's what you got to aim for, right? You want to paint your models so they look good when they're out of focus. Like victory. That tastes like victory. Oh, you know what? There's one last thing we could do. We could give him a little decal. I have this old transfer sheet. I think one of these might look good on his knee pad. So maybe we'll get that cooking. Viper says, yeah, that lieutenant looks sick. Thank you. I appreciate it. I also noticed while I was doing other things that someone subscribed, and I appreciate it, though I can't remember because of my memento-like short-term memory loss. So I will just know that it's appreciated, okay? Anyone who subscribes and likes. Like the stream, of course, as every good YouTuber should say. Like the video, subscribe, and comment, and all that crap. Okay, do I have my microsol here? Ideally, I would want to use that. Let us see here. Microsol. There it is. That's the good stuff. Okay, before my paint water gets any dirtier, let's use it. Let's use it. That might be sacrilege for some people, but look, maybe it just adds a bit of weathering, right? Now that decal is more weathered. On this chap, oh boy. Back to edge highlighting greens. Oh my god. Oh my god. I thought we were done. Are the rest of his bros good? I think so. These two have their black arms and black components edge highlighted. So does him. So does this guy. I guess they all do. Okay, good. Good, at least. Oh, I thought this guy was further along. I'm not gonna lie. I thought he only had like a leg remaining or something. Well. It is what it is. Bummer. Bummer. Yeah, I've been reposting my Tyranids for the spooky season over on the Instagram. Sort of a trip down Tyranid memory lane. I'm definitely going to take some photos of the old Metal Gear Tyrannofex. The Tyrannofex was a fun project, right? Definitely a passion project and a bit of a challenge to myself, right? Kind of wanted to see if I could, right? Do such a comprehensive conversion. So much green stuff and milliput and all that stuff. But honestly, I don't think it's a very suitable bioform for High Fleet Gengar. It's just a neat conversion now. I think High Fleet Gengar would lean more into brain bugs, things to screw around with psychers, as a ghost type Pokemon would tend to, right? Want to mess with those psychic types. And maybe any other spooky, stealthy sort of unit, like I think Von Ryan Reapers, those types of units. Maybe Parasites of Mortrexes, because they're certainly spooky and certainly a haunter of sorts. Okay, let's get some Microsol in here. Don't want to cook it for too long, though. Probably no more than a minute, honestly. This Microsol, it's some strong stuff. Let's grab the backup handle for our lieutenant. Okay, that should be enough time. Oh boy. Might have overdone it. Oh, I'm too embarrassed to do this on camera. Hold on, let me check if I ruined it. Oh god. It's too much. Look, in my defense, I don't decal all the time. Who keeps in mind the Microsol tolerances, okay? Yeah, we just turned this into a clump of garbage. Now it's wrapped over itself. It's just a mess. Look at this. What is that even anymore? It's nothing. Waste. Okay, look. The good news is we have 2 more tries. And if those 2 fail, I don't know. Gotta come up with something else. This is a symbol I would not dare to freehand. Certainly not at this scale. It's way too intensive. Matt Gaming says, Leapers, so you have Bug, Ghost, and I'd say the black paint counts as Dark type, so you have a full super effectiveness over Psychers. Nice. I didn't make the Bug connection, but that's pretty cool. They are Ghost and Bug type. Maybe I should do a thematic list build for Gengar. That could be a spooky themed video idea. Let me see the schedule. Interesting. It could. Could consider it. Would be ideal if Halloween was on a weekend when videos usually get published. But look, you don't have to have a... It's not a rule, you know, you can post videos whenever. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I should make an effort to not go to such a high level of detail and effort for these guys who want characters. Okay. So let's try this again. I'm not going to leave it on for long this time. Or use as much. So we're using less, and importantly, it's diluted because there's some water in here already. So we'll see. Oh God. Oh, I think we're all right. Right now we gotta nudge it into place. Alright, is that center? We want center and not askew. We want it to be straight in line with his leg, which I think it is. I think so. All right, from the side view. I feel like maybe needs to nudge left a bit more. Kind of see it equally from both sides, which I think is better now, and I still believe it's aligned or close enough. So then we'll begin to depress it. Joe, I'll start here just with some water or a damp brush. And then I'll just hit it with a light layer of microsol and come back and give it a good old push with a moist brush again. I don't think the microsole is necessary for the knee pad. Oh God. Oh my God. I think I saved it. It's okay. Yeah, what I was gonna say was that the knee pad isn't as curved as the typical Space Marine pauldron, which really, really kind of demands the microsole. I think you'd probably get away without it for the knee pad, but I think it does help still. Okay, so is this sort of centered enough, maybe? Look, once it's on, a layer of lamine medium will cover up that shine. Alright, chat. I'm relying on you to tell me if this is crooketed. Looks fine to me, says Viper and Matt Gaming. Oh, good. Good. Now I can feel better. I mean that earnestly. Sometimes you can't tell for yourself, you know, you need another opinion, so I appreciate that. How are we on the time front? Okay, hour and a half in. We'll go for another half hour. I think 2 hours is a sweet spot for me. Then the hobby fatigue sets in. So we'll carry on. Oh boy. Green edge highlights. Like, the good news is after this company hero squad is done, we're ready to go. There's just a bit of touch up, a small bit of touch up to do to the chapter master. But other than that, the salamanders or the firekeepers arc will be complete. Francois says Lamia Medium is not a matte finish, it's a satin finish. Yes, you are probably right. But the GW paints are satin as well. So it should blend. It should blend. But I appreciate the pointer. The clarification. You know, I don't want to be spreading fake news, okay? So, your contributions are appreciated, Francois. Viper's gotta bounce. Well, I appreciate you tuning in, Viper. And I appreciate the sharing of, or feeding the hobby camaraderie. You have a good evening. Time Guy, welcome to the stream. That's a sweet helmet. I agree. I agree. It's a helmet from Red Warden. 3D printed. Unofficial, okay? I don't always follow the rules. I'm a bit of a rebel that way. Mail order potato. First of all, that's an excellent username. Fantastic. Just 10 out of 10. And hello. What is up? Well, we're just, we've moved on from the lieutenant. Look, I said he is the focus of the stream, and he's, all wrapped up. All wrapped up. I think he turned out pretty good. And now I'm on to a honor guard. One of the chapter masters honor guard. That's what this guy is. What's on your hobby desk? Let's share in the hobby camaraderie chat. Let us all feed off of our collective hobby energy. Keep the morale high, you know? I may have over-accessorized these guys, and it's making them a little difficult to paint. I would like to, ideally, speed through this edge highlighting if possible. Maybe those are the challenges I should do for myself. Paint faster. As opposed to challenges of making things more elaborate. Maybe focus on improving my speed. Maybe that's better. But it sounds less fun. Nat Gaming's working on death marks. Really love the sniper look. Yeah, I can appreciate death marks. They're pretty neat. Interdimensional snipers, right? That's their shtick. That's their catchphrase. Francois says, what about the rest of his base? The rest of his base will be done when I put some texture paste on him. I have him and the rest of the honor guard that all need to get their bases done. And I'd rather batch them. Look, I certainly find batch painting models to sap the fun, but for bases, I don't mind as much. Mail order potato says right on, yours are looking great. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I am painting Crude Boys from AOS. Delicate little minis, I tell you. The Cruel Boys are some real nice looking orcs. I'll say that. More of the cunning, backstabbing variety, right? As opposed to the big burly ones that I pilfered this guy's weapon from. Yeah, the swamp orcs with that vulture. Yeah, what a range, man. Yeah, there's something about the Age of Sigmar model range where I feel like that's where Games Workshop's sculpting talent goes. Could just be that there's more variety in Age of Sigmar, less focus of Marines. Marines are too pervasive in 40k. Probably. That is probably what it is. Time Guy says, working on some Grey Knights kit bashes, seeing how I can combine Rabute Gilliman and a Dread Knight together. Interesting. Like a Gilliman, or I guess like Gilliman's base model, but equipped with a, like an exosuit of sorts. Reminds me of probably a closer scale to those Matrix exosuits. Which is probably what inspired the Grey Knights to begin with. I wonder if that lines up time-wise. Oh, look at that. I got away with it. For the most part, anyways. Minimal errors. I can live with it. Might be a bit too thick there. That's okay. Can always clean it up. It's probably faster to be less precise and clean up afterwards, right? Matt Gaming says, yes. Oh, on the death marks topic, correct. Since I have so many Tesla guns left over, I decided to use some parts to make one of my death mark snipers more dripped out. Hell yes, that's why we keep our bits, okay? We keep our bits to do cool shit. Like, it's so satisfying when you have the concept for a conversion in mind, and you know you have the bit, and then you know it takes a minute to sift through and find it, but oh boy, when a conversion comes together using parts you've kept, very satisfying, I'll tell you. Dreadnought, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Looks great. Aw, thank you. I appreciate that. It's a work in progress on this guy. I think he'll have to be painted up to a standard equal to his battle bro, his fellow honor guard. Which I think is totally achievable. It's nothing spectacular. I didn't do anything crazy for the honor guard. So let's clean this up. You know what? So after cleaning up, I can confirm, guys. I can confirm for you. I've done the research live on stream. I can confirm that it does take longer to clean up your mistakes rather than to just paint slowly and precisely. But there's a caveat, okay? And it's an important one, which is painting precisely is only faster if you don't make any mistakes. Because then it's the same difference. You gotta clean it up anyways, right? Matt Gaming says, I'm glad that the Battle Honors booklet exists because the free stuff like the Bits box has been a lifesaver for my hoarding addiction. Interesting. I'm not familiar with the Battle Honors booklet or the related Bits box, but yeah, I just kind of have a dollar store. I think it's like for nuts and bolts, like a dollar store container with little compartments. Which is serviceable enough. Suppose you could use like a tackle box, but you know what? Anytime you get into like a niche hobby product, it's always expensive, so I'm willing to bet tackle boxes are expensive. Dreadnought says sometimes when I paint, I try to be perfect. I try to be perfect, but when I mess up, do you clean up after it's done, or do you correct the mistake right away? Ah, I see. Okay. It depends, right? If it's a color or paint that's conducive to like being where you can work with it while it's wet, then yeah, I'll just work with it right away. But with some paints you can't do that. They must be they'll start mixing with the color, and then you're not really erasing your mistake, you're just creating a new mistake, which is not not what I'm after. Metagaming says, my school has a Warhammer club, so we were given 3 big boxes filled with free Warhammer. And the Battle Honors booklets, which is if you do enough stuff, you get stamps, and more stamps equals more rewards. Interesting. I do recall there being such a program for schools in Warhammer. But I appreciate you clarifying there, Matt. Definitely had some Castlevania vibes with that track. Yeah, I didn't watch the new Castlevania show that was on Netflix. Like the second season, or the second series, I guess. I enjoyed the first one. I recall parts of it I liked. But now that I'm thinking about it, I think it did get weird. Oh my god, that line is like Le Chonk. The chonkiest of edge highlights. It's not even an edge highlight, it's just freehanding stripes. Oh, it's awful. Maybe as the stream has gone on, my hobby proficiency, my hobby stamina has waned. That must be the cause. There's no other explanation. It appears to have a message. Let me see if it's urgent. Not at all. Just how I like my messages. Alright, this was the Battle Brother that we put the Talisar blue knee pad on. I think that turned out great. Just take your white knee pad, do a little zigzag, and fill it in with contrast. There you go. Cool knee pad. Easy peasy. we have an armor port that needs to be hit with some metallic. Is the old bottle cap still alive? Maybe. Let's see. Let's see. No. I'll have to get that next time. Oh my god. This is terrible. Just terrible. Look, despite the imperfections, still making progress on this honor guard, this honored battle brother. Not really sure what these notches are supposed to be. Perhaps somebody in chat could inform me. Just little squares to make things more interesting, or what? They just access ports, so you can tighten your rivets or something. There's caps. Maybe they are just access ports for assembly. Kind of like, yeah, you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, that's probably what they are, right? I think back to the first Iron Man movie where you can see how his, like, I think it's his boot where he tightens a rivet or something, and the whole thing attaches for equipping and unequipping the armor. It must be something like that, because it's fairly symmetrical now that we're looking at it, right? Yeah. Yeah! Okay, that's pretty cool. Look. We learn on these streams. We learn a great many things. Though it could be fake news. We're just theory crafting here. I'm just postulating. Matt Gaming says, just to make it look more interesting, I think, instead of flat panels. Could be. I think that's the out-of-world reason why. Space Marine armor is pretty simple. But I also think that's by design. They want to make Space Marines kind of easy to paint, so that the poster boys are kind of beginner friendly. Certainly more so relative to like Chaos Space Marines. Now we're just hunting for remaining green edges. Well, that's an error. That's worth fixing. Look, we're probably going to wrap up shortly, guys. FYI, just so you're not caught unawares, okay? Don't want to leave you guys high and dry. Oh, I thought that was loose. Okay, we're gonna have to glue that. What are we looking at? Some plastic glue? Yeah, it looks like it. Look, a mortal wound was suffered today. Though, maybe I'll take this opportunity to hit those hard-to-reach areas. Look, this is what you call making lemons out of lemonade. Alright, that should do. Everything else would be, I think, covered by the holster once it goes back on. Right, something like that. Cool, 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 cool. Matt Gaming says the models are looking amazing. Well, Matt, if you are referring to the models I've been painting, that is very kind, and I appreciate it. Anyways, guys, we just crossed the 2-hour mark for our Monday evening hobby hang stream. And I am all gassed out. But I think it was fairly productive. Look, we've slow painted over several streams this Combi Lieutenant. Looking pretty good, I think. I'll probably take a whip snapshot and post it, because I think the video quality here isn't doing it justice, in my opinion. And I'll share that here on a channel post. And tomorrow we'll continue this guy. Anyways, everybody, thank you to everyone who tuned in, subscribed, and liked the stream. And thanks to everyone who shared and joined in on the hobby camaraderie. And with that, I'll catch you guys